All right, welcome to Petite Professionals. Today I have Alexis. Thank you for being on. So,
Yeah.
Alexis, what is your job title?
So I am currently an animal shelter attendant and then also an ACO in training. And ACO stands for Animal Control Officer. So I'm the type of person to go out in the field, drive the trucks, talk to people, and explain city ordinances.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, how did you end up in this line of work?
So I always like to start with my passion for animals started when I was really little. I grew up wanting to be a veterinarian. I grew up watching the show Animal Cops. And so like I always had this like idea of just helping animals and being involved at some point in their lives. Fast forward, I get to college. I'm a third generation Iowa State University graduate. So I had to follow in my grandpa and my parents' footsteps.
Mhm.
And so when I went to college, I decided vet school was not for me. I was not going to do vet school. I chemistry was not my forte. So I switched lanes and I started working at a horse barn. And then this job came up working at an animal shelter. And I'm like, same kind of preface, caring for animals, really, helping them get adopted and get homes. But this one got a little bit more involved and I started doing their social media and I started doing their public events. And then my boss was like, since you're talking to people already, do you want to try and be an animal control officer? I'm like, let's do it. Let's do it. So here we are.
That's awesome. Okay, what kind of hours does one have with this position?
It kind of varies. So animals, it's like 24/7. We're always doing chores. We're always working. So we're a mighty team of six. We're a very small municipal shelter, but we're mighty. And we switch off weekends. So the three of us animal shelter attendants, we switch weekends and we kind of switch back and forth. And then our on-call phone is our animal control phone, and that also switches with people back and forth. So it kind of depends on who's on call, but it's pretty much 24/7.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, 'cause I had no idea what the schedule would be like for that, but that's good that you guys balance out weekends, so
Yeah, yep. We're pretty good at trading off and really making sure that everybody gets some time off, but also puts in the hours that's needed.
yes, you don't burn out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, do you have any pets since you're an animal lover?
Yes, I have currently a dog, two cats, and six horses. Yes, I had the horses first, and then I got the dog in college, and then literally 2 months into working at the animal shelter, in came my two cats.
Oh, wow. Well, actually, my friend has a horse, and I went there the other weekend to see what all she does. I didn't realize how much time and energy, like, cleaning their hooves and the brushing and the conditioner.
Yes.
You got 6 of 'em.
Yep. It's a fun time. I've always ridden horses. I've always shown horses. I grew up in 4-H, and so that also kind of helped lead me down to the College of Ag at Iowa State, and then in my job now.
That's awesome. So if someone was interested in doing ACO training, what advice would you give them?
Definitely start getting involved early. I was very, very fortunate that I was able to use my experience both in 4-H and in showing animals in combination with my skills of pageantry because it's not just animal care, it's more on the people side than people realize. So you
Mhm.
have to know how to be able to present to people who may not be as willing to converse with you. So part of our job is, explaining and educating the public on right versus wrong. And you have to have kind of thick skin to do that professionally and stay cool,
Mhm.
calm, and collected when you go home. So I think that's the biggest tip is get involved now, really start learning who you are, what you want to do in the field, and getting animal experience as soon as possible.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is the interview process for someone pursuing a career like this?
It's pretty standard animal care. You what benefited me was really understanding through my time at Iowa State. I was an animal science major, so I took all of the anatomy classes and all of the behavior classes, and behavior was the one that really stuck out to me, and especially in a shelter setting. You have to understand, these dogs and cats may come from normal situations, they may come from the streets, they may come from trauma. And so
Mhm.
really understanding the difference kind of helped me in my interview and really being able to articulate that and be like, yes, I know a fearful dog I know not to approach it. I know how to approach a dog. Um, so that really helped me in the interview process. But it's especially for a shelter attendant position, it's going to be very entry level, and it's hard to get through those entry level positions, but once you do, you build up in your organization, and
Yeah.
that's where you can get, a little bit more confident. And like I mentioned earlier, I started shelter attendant, gradually added more and more and more things until now I'm here and I'm training.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you're very passionate about it and you love it. That's great. And I like that you brought up how pageantry has worked into your career because I'm actually back in school and I did it because of pageantry. I got the confidence to apply to my master's program, and it's cool when it all intertwines together.
It really is. And I truly think it is because of pageantry that I had the interview skills to just, go and do it. And so the
Mhm.
fact that you're now getting your master's because of pageantry, it makes total sense. It's just
Yeah, you
building
just get this
confidence.
like confidence of like, why not? Like, I'll
Yeah.
just try.
Exactly. Like, I'm gonna go do it. Like, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, speaking of pageantry, you just gave up your title this summer. What was your title?
I was the 2024 Royal International Miss. So I represented the Royal International Miss system and got to go to the Bahamas, New York City, Tennessee, pretty much all over the world, and had sister queens from all over as well.
That is so cool. I love that. I didn't know you got to go to the Bahamas. That's
Yes.
awesome.
The cruise is everyone's favorite part. So if you ask a rim girl what their favorite part of their title holder year is, it's the cruise.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. Um, okay, so what are the areas of competition that you had to compete in?
So rim, there's two different sides. So one is the role model side and one is the divisional side. And the divisional side has introduction, interview, fun fashion, and evening gown. And then the role model side has, when I competed, they just changed it this year, but when I competed, it was evening gown, the same as divisional. It was a scrapbook, it was a video presentation, and then it was also a separate judged interview. So it was you they did that so that people who really had an eye for service could put a little bit more work into it, and the people that were, there for the glitz and glam, which let's be honest, we all are too,
Mhm.
could do just the divisional. And so it helped us figure out, okay, what do we want to do? How do we want to represent ourselves? How do we want to represent the system? And that's kind of the direction that everybody took. And then we had the opportunity to compete for both too. So we could kind of flip flop and be like, okay, I want to try for both. But if I get one, it's still worth it because you get to lead the whole year as an international queen. And the role models get a cool job. They actually lead our international service project. So they're the hard workers of the group, and we get to all come together and all have fun on our trips and really represent a really positive system.
That's so cool. I love the scrapbooking. I haven't heard of that before. That's so cool.
Yeah, it helps highlight all of our community service for the judges so they can look and be like, oh, yeah, this girl put in the work. Like she's dedicated to helping others and really getting involved.
That's so awesome. And then you're a director now too?
Yes. For the same system, they actually asked me last year. So last year was my first year. So I was not only an international title holder, but I was a director as well. So I had like
You work.
two jobs. Yeah. I was multitasking to the max last year, and it was so fun. So this is my second year directing. I run Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, and then I appoint Minnesota, South Dakota, and North Dakota.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what's that like?
It's different. It's a different side of pageantry that, when you're competing, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Like, I'm going to go have fun in my dresses and I'm going to do this. And the directors are running behind the scenes, like crazy. And now I understand. So it's a lot of work to put it on, but then it's so fulfilling getting to have your team and take them to, for in my case, the system that I had so much success in and I have so much heart for. And so being able to lead a team, last year we had 11 girls. So leading a team of 11 last year, to go to internationals and kind of being their mentor, it was so worth it.
That's awesome. I once had a director that told me it's like planning a wedding every year.
Yeah, because you have your venues, you have your prizes, you have your like extras, and then you have to advertise. And so it's a lot of behind the scenes work and it all pays off in the end.
That's awesome. So I have a question about like venue and just
Yeah.
booking. So do you have a particular place that you have to go through, or how do you pick your venue?
Nope. So I usually what I did last year, this year I actually used the same venue I used last year just because I liked it so
Oh,
much. But I toured it like, like you compared it to a wedding. You tour it like a wedding venue, but you have your pageant in mind. And so I went on tours for several venues and you go through budgets, you go through people, you go through staffing, you go through hours because some have hour limits and some don't. Um, so it's a lot of note taking and really making sure, okay, do I need an extra room for the judges? I need a dressing room for my girls. I need an easy way to go backstage. This space has a really cool space that I can use for something. This space doesn't have an extra room that I can use. And so making that pros and cons list and then going over budgets and then going over
mhm.
dates and timelines. And so it was a lot of like pros and cons, comparisons, what's in my budget this year, what can I pull off, kind of things of that nature. And
Yeah.
it was a lot in the beginning, and then I found a venue that was, it ticked all of my boxes, and I'm like, yep, we're sticking with this one.
That's awesome. That's good that you've used it before and you have a rhythm to it.
It's gonna be a little easier because now I'm like, okay, I know the space, I know what I need
Mhm.
to do, and this is what I'm gonna change.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for recruiting, because you have quite a few states,
Yeah.
what do you attend events or like what how do you find like a contestant that you think would be right for the system?
A lot of what we do, with any advertising, the best is going to be word of mouth. So really utilizing my former title holders and then any of my new girls that come in, having them help promote the system on social media, having them tag, go to events in their crowns and sashes, really talk about RIM and why now that they've competed at internationals, why they love it and why I've got most of my team coming back for a second year. So it's really helpful now that they've been through it. They can kind of help guide the other girls too. Um, but yeah, a lot of it is, finding people on social media, reaching out to local coaches in the area, and kind of just, presenting our organization as like, this is why you should compete with us. This is why we're different. This is why, your girls will have the time of their lives at internationals, and kind of going at it about that way.
Word of mouth is definitely huge. Oh, so I've been competing with Petite USA for a while, and I had heard about it at, have you ever been to the pageant event in Wisconsin?
I've heard of it. I have not yet gone.
Okay, so I've gone a few times, and when I was there, Petite USA was there one year, and I was interested, and then I just did a deep dive online, and I read so many good things about them, and I heard a podcast, and then, you dig in and you wanna hear from people what their experience was like. So
Exactly, exactly. And that's kind of, what we as state directors kind of use to our advantage is we're like, okay, get all this content, get all these photos, all these videos, go out in your community, send them so I can repost them and share them. And, really trying to be like, look, we're here. And especially in the Midwest, like pageantry is not crazy big like it is in the South.
Mhm,
And so it's really like, okay, these new girls that are just coming in that have no idea what they're getting into, how can we make this in a way that's going to be easy on mom and dad and
mhm.
that's going to be very rewarding and beneficial for the daughter?
And honestly, like, I don't know when you started competing, but I started in college,
Me
and
too.
every phase of life. So in college, it helped me be more confident in interview. As a married woman now, it's giving me a space to be someone besides mom and wife. So every phase of life, I feel like it offers something different.
I absolutely agree. I had no idea who I was coming out of high school. I knew, I wanted to do something in agriculture. And so my first pageant was actually an agricultural based pageant. And
Awesome.
I somehow won. And I'm like, okay, I got bit by the bug. What else
Mhm.
can we do? So I kept going with it. And that's when I started to branch out and talk to new people and get new experiences. And um, I think it's really helped through college, getting more experience, being able to speak my mind and join clubs and get myself
Mhm.
out there when high school me would have just stayed in my lane and done the same thing every day. So I think,
It's yes.
yeah, having that experience, I think really helped me be like, okay, push out of my comfort zone. Let's try this. Here we are. And it all worked out for
Mhm.
the better.
Definitely. In high school, I had, like, my little bubble. I only knew what was
Yes.
going on in that, and then you go to college and it's
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Exactly.
So did you hear about RIM through word of mouth? Is that how you got involved with them?
Essentially, yeah, I had tried a couple different systems before I stuck with RAM in 2022. Um, I started pageants in 2019. And so RIM was really my second pageant and my first, like, it was my first big one. I had done a national pageant before, but this was like international level. And so I had heard about it through word of mouth, and then because I was googling like pageants in Iowa because there aren't many, and
Sure.
I really wanted to represent my state again. And I found RIM, and I was going through, and I was like, okay, I love the international stage. I love how it looks. All of these girls look so nice. The international title holders look great. They're going on all of these trips. They're going out in their communities. They have the role model division for service. Like they're not just here's a pretty face. They're not
Mhm.
that. It's
They're
very
working.
yes, there's a lot of inner work that goes into it. And so I'm like, okay, I kind of like this one. And here we are. I got top 5 my first year in both divisions and then in role model and divisional. So I went
Congratulations.
back. My second year I got top 3 in both divisions. I'm like, I don't know. And then I came back and I got the international title.
What do you think you did differently that 3rd time around?
The third time I did a lot more mindset. The first 2 times the very first time I was very nervous because it was my first year and I was like, I'm just here for fun. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just here to explore. And then I pulled top 5 in both divisions. I'm like, oh,
I can do
okay,
this.
here we go. Okay. Second year, I was a little bit more confident, still nervous because I'm like, I just want to do better than I did last year. That was it. I didn't care if I got the same or better, that I just wanted to do it again. I pulled better. I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if we went 5-3-1? Wouldn't it be funny?
Yeah.
And so I walked every day. I did interview questions and practiced my intro in my car driving home with the radio blared just to, work through distractions in my head. I did a lot.
Smart.
Yeah, it works. It's a good trick. Um, I did a lot of self-reflection on like, okay, who am I? What do I bring to the table? Why am I the fit for this system? A lot of asking myself why. And you hear that a lot in the pageant industry, but it's different to hear it versus actually sit down with yourself and be like, I like this.
Do
Why?
it.
I'm
Yeah.
doing this. Why? Right? Exactly. Digging through. And so that's what I did my third year. And I went in my third year with the clearest mind I could ever have. I was so at peace. I was there to have fun. I was there to make friends. I was there to be in a system that I've loved for the past 3 years now. And it happened.
Oh, that's awesome. No, that's wonderful advice, and I'm definitely gonna try the car thing with the music.
It works. It's crazy. And you feel crazy doing it. And you might look crazy to the drivers next to you. But man, if you can tell your introduction with your radio blaring to your favorite song and you're driving down the highway, if you can do it then, you can do it on a stage.
That's awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share in regards to pageantry or with your line of work?
I think the biggest takeaway just of everything is just to go for it. You
Mhm.
never know what's going to happen when you try, when you put your mind to something. I certainly never imagined I would be, pulling this high and like loving my career as much as I do. And it all just started with a leap of faith of just, I'm going to apply. I'm just going to see if I can get in because and it happened. And so, just trusting yourself, trusting your knowledge, trusting your skills, and just going for it, I think is going to be the biggest takeaway.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your time and all your insight. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah.
Bye.